Okay, is there sound now? Do we have sound now? Any sound, guys? Any sound? Any sound, guys? Is there sound? Is there sound? Yep, all clear. Okay. Okay. Kenneth, how are you doing, boss? How are you doing, boss? Okay. Excellent. Good. Okay, guys. So this week I put out a poll. You'll have to excuse me. I have a bit of a flu over here, so we're gonna push on. We're gonna push on. So this week I put out a bit of a poll. I said, between pilot training, career, hangar talk, and comment other, which one do you want to talk about the most? And I think 69% of who voted had said pilot training, which is interesting. So I will initiate the discussion on that topic. And perfect. I can, yeah, the comments coming in really slow. Yes, we have sound. Okay. I will initiate the discussion on that topic. And then along the way, if you guys have any questions, just send out a message. Like I said, there's a bit of a delay between the chat on my side and then on the chat on your side. So let me put my phone on silent here. There we go. Okay, great. Yes, we have sound. Yes. Okay, so now, pilot training. Where does it all begin? Where does it all begin? Right. For some of you here, as you know, it starts with something called a private pilot license, a PPL, and a PPL, of course, starts off with there are certain minimum requirements to do in order to obtain a license during the training. Of course, what one should touch on are the entry requirements to begin your training. And actually, there's been a bit of a myth going around. I saw a Facebook post this week, and that post had said, guys, it's easy to get your pilot license. It's just like a driver's license. You don't need any credentials or any matric, any high school certificate to enter. Now, that's the wording is a bit off. The wording is a bit off. So to get your pilot license, to get your private pilot license, you don't necessarily need a high school certificate. You don't need a matric certificate. Fabulous. However, if you're going into pilot training for a job, right, professionally, you want to become a professional pilot, then you will actually find, and I have to give props up to Sipo. I don't know if you guys know Sipo. He's also, well, he's actually quite a famous pilot here in South Africa. You will see him on quite of the few TV programs as well, or radio shows. So Sipo had put out a post to say, "Hey guys, no. Don't believe that what this person is saying, that you only need, or you don't need any high school certificate. You just need to get the licenses itself, and then you're good. You're good to go, and then you can go apply to any form of employer and any form of airline or air operator, and they said, okay, that's fine, come and join, and let's fly. No, that's not it. So SIPO had put out a couple of screenshots of some of the employers here in South Africa. So you have Airlink, right? You have Airlink. You also have SAF Air, and who else had put out a SEM Air as well. And in those requirements, I'm gonna see if I'll be able to bring it up for you actually. So I'm gonna work on this on the meantime. Okay, so your question just came in. I know you sent it a few minutes ago, but your question just came in. I will come to it. Okay, so they in the advertisement or for the job ad, sorry, for a first officer, for any one of these operators, one of the first things that they will say is you need a grade 12 certificate. Okay, you will need a grade 12 certificate. It's as simple as that. And without it, it'd be very difficult to convince them otherwise, unless you've gotten any other form of education. You have to excuse me. The flu has gotten one here. Okay, so guys, basically it's important if you're in high school, in South Africa, and you're doing matric, get your grade 12 certificate before and then before coming to do your pilot training. The earliest age you can do that is the age of, as in the earliest age you can start your pilot training. I would say 16 and a half. The earliest age you can get your pilot license is 17. So training can take between 3 to 6 months to get done. So if you started at 16 and a half, then we could just pretty much say, okay, by the age of 17 you can get your license. Okay, so now let me get to this to Sagao's question. Actually, I think the biggest nightmare for an aspiring aviator like me is finance and all the different routes that one can take due to financial constraints. Yeah, that is very true. That is very true. That is a lot of people. That is definitely a lot of people. So I did tell you guys last time that there are three bursary opportunities you can apply for. And actually, one of them just opened up, ATNS. I don't know how I'm going to be able to get out the... I'm going to try and see if I can get it on the screen. Let us see if we can actually figure that out. In the meantime, ATNS has put out that bursary application. You can, and I believe the deadline might be the 28th of February. It actually might be the 28th of February. I'll pull it up and see if I can actually get the correct date. So either the 28th of February or sometime in March. Go to the ATNS website. Apply. If you're South African, apply. Guys, an air traffic controller is a critical skill. It's in high, well, I'm not going to use the word high demand, but it is needed. It is needed. And it's not only needed in South Africa, it's actually needed quite across Africa. So apply, guys. It's a bursary. They'll pay for your training, and if you become an air traffic controller, then you will be able to get a remuneration. You'll be able to get a salary, and with that salary, you can save money. Please, guys, save. Don't get black tax affect your life. I know there's a lot of black tax here in there's black tax all across Africa, but black tax is prevalent here, is it not? So and you know what I mean by black tax, where you have family members saying, hey, this is the only person who's got a decent job, now you got to take X, Y, Z, or back to A, B, C, D, so and so person, so and so's relative, etc., etc. It's part of life. It's part of life. It's the responsibilities that one has, but there is a limitation. There are boundaries that one has to put in place in order to be able to further your career. So ATNS, apply for it. Okay, so now second question: are there subjects that one has to excel in? Does one have to be good at geography, maths, and let me try and do this. Okay, geography, maths, over and above just a matric certificate? I would say yes. You know, you don't need any legally. You don't need any subjects to start your pilot training. However, to help you along your training, to help you get started, to help you better understand certain topics that you're going to be learning, it will be important to study up in geography. It'll be important to study up in maths, definitely, and it'll be important to study up in science. So for some of you, maybe in high school, that science is split into either physics, biology, or chemistry. Then it would be useful for you to take physics. Chemistry, there's fuel in a plane, but how much of fuel do you, how in depth of fuel do you need to understand, right? So okay, so I would say physics or science, geography and maths, in high school. So now let's see if I'll be able to bring up that ATNS ad. The other bursary or other organization that you can apply to, I'm going to type it here in the chat. TITA. Okay, TITA. Again, this is for South Africa, naturally. TITA. I believe it's tertiary education. I can't remember what it stands for. But if you go to their website, they also have a bursary, and their bursary takes you all the way to CPL, commercial pilot license. Okay, so apply to TITA, apply to ATNS, and get those bursaries and start training. Just start. Okay. I found the page. So it says ATNS bursaries. You have a choice, and the closing date is the 28th of February 2023, guys. 28th of February 2023. So you have three options, right? You have three options. The first one is aeronautical. The three choices of training, right? Aeronautical Information Management Officer. So that's AIMO. And then the second one is Air Traffic Services Officer, ATSO. And then the third one is Airport Management Center Liaison Officer. I believe the Airport Management Center Liaison Officer, you'll probably be at OR Tambo. Okay. Oh, there we go. Okay. So to apply, you go to the website. Oh, that's a bit odd. But you go to the website ZA. That looks a bit odd. Let me just double check just to make sure this is not a false link. But it says here zabursaries.co.za. I'm going to put it in the chat as well. ZA bursaries. Guys, spelling. Spelling bursaries.co.za. There we go. zabursaries.co.za. Okay. I'm also gonna look for the ad itself. In fact, I'm gonna go to this website right now. bursaries.co.za, just to make sure that it's not something dodgy. Okay, flying jurist. There we go. Okay, so those are the two opportunities that you have there. ATNS and TITA. ATNS and TITA. Apply. Okay, so let's go back to the training aspect of things. So PPL, PPL is the first step, private pilot license. And remember, guys, when we say private pilot license, we don't mean that you're going to go and fly a private jet. Okay, we are not going to be going to fly a private jet. A PPL, all a private pilot license means is that you have the privilege to go. You can rent a plane, or you can rent a plane, or buy a plane if you want, and fly it around, and not be paid for it. Okay, you can't be paid for it. However, if you now want to start working as a pilot, but like I said, you would need it. You would need a private pilot license in order to get your commercial pilot license. And the reason being is because the most common path of becoming a pilot is the modular route. Okay, it's a modular route. The modular route means that you're taking subjects, you're passing subjects in stages, right? There is a path called an integrated route, where there are very few schools. I think, in fact, I only know 1 or 2 schools in South Africa that do the integrated route. But the integrated route is actually it's a lot more expensive. However, it's faster, I believe. It's faster. Ooh, I apologize. I have a cold. This is live. And we have to sort ourselves out. The realities of a live show. Oh well. Okay. So, what was I saying? I was saying that you have the integrated route, and the integrated route is slightly faster, but it is more expensive. And the hourly requirement to get the commercial pilot license with the integrated route is less than the modular route. The integrated route, you only need 200 hours of total flying time before you can go and test, whereas the modular route, you need about 240 to 250 hours. You can test at 200 hours, but it all depends on what you've done, the type of flying that you've done prior to the 200 hours. Okay, so please, if you have any questions on that type of training, please put it in the chat. I will continue on discussing about it, and then whenever the question does pop up, I'll just go back to that. Okay, all right, great. So to conclude, integrated route, 200-hour requirement. Modular route, between 240 and 250 hours. Okay, and the reason being is that the main difference, is that you're doing your what is called an instrument rating. And what does an instrument rating mean? An instrument rating means you can go and fly into the clouds, and you don't have to look outside. You're only looking at the instruments. Okay, you're only looking at the instruments. So instrument rating is something that you would typically, in the modular route, you would typically start at 200 hours. And the instrument rating can take about 45 hours of flying, right? 45 hours of flying. That's why they say that in the modular route, usually you would test at 240 to 250 hours. Okay, I have found the image of the bursary. I'm gonna put it up now. So you're not gonna see me, but you're gonna see the bursary. Okay, so there we go. That is the bursary, right? I hope you can see it clearly. You can take a screenshot of it. So you can see it says you have 3 choices, and the closing date is the 20th of February. Now the big question, of course, is what will be the requirements. So let's go to this website. I've gone to Bursaries South Africa. Let's see if we can bring it up on the screen. I will do that now. Okay. And we're going to add a certain window capture. Yep, okay, fine, fair enough. And we will, yes, that's exactly what we want to choose. All right, so here we go. So we are at the website, and now I'm gonna go to the website, and so okay, so it says Bursaries, South Africa, home closing soon, etc., etc., etc. Let's go to closing soon. We have a nice advertisement here, and let's see. March, there's one closing in March. February, Bursaries closing in February. Let's click on that. Good. This looks like a very dodgy website, by the way. I don't know if I trust it. All right, okay, here we go. Okay, so I guess it's just it's basically an index website of all the Okay, there we go. ATNS bursaries closing soon. Let me just double check and make sure that it's still pitching up. There we go. Okay, ATNS bursaries closing soon. We've loaded it. And let's have a look at what it says. Okay, about the bursary provider, ATNS, obviously we should know. ATNS is the Air Traffic Navigation Services Company. They provide all air traffic services. I'm actually not reading anymore. They provide air traffic services not only for South Africa, but they provide it for the Indian Ocean as well as the Atlantic Ocean. It's actually quite a big proportion. They also cover certain parts of the Antarctica. So I don't know if you know, guys, there are a couple of flights. I'm just going to temporarily switch back to the main camera. There we go. Okay, so I don't know if you guys know it, but there are a couple of flights out of Cape Town. Go figure. There are a couple of flights out of Cape Town, which you can fly to Antarctica if you so want to. I don't know how much those tickets are going for, but if you want to go to Antarctica, there's your opportunity. Okay, so that's why ATNS, well, not that's why, but ATNS recognizes that there is some traffic, air traffic, going between South Africa and Antarctica. And not only South Africa, there are some flights that transition from Europe, which actually go to Antarctica. So that's hence why ATNS does cover that particular region. So let's go back to this website. Okay, so let's see. Right, so it says, let's see about the ATNS bursary program. I am learning this at the same time as you are. Okay, we understand that we want to look at the requirements. It doesn't seem to even state what the. There we go. They are the requirements. So you need to, number one, you must be a South African citizen. Number two, you must be 18 years or older. So, guys, how old are you? How old are you, eh? How old are you? Guys, be honest here. Be honest. You can have your name. These might not even be your name, so you can be honest. How old are you guys? If you're older than 18, great. If not, you're gonna have to wait a little bit. Okay, so you have to be older than 18. Right, so you must be a South African citizen, you must be 18 years or older, you must have completed matric. You see what I'm saying here? You must have completed matric. You can't just leave and then go and try and do your pilot training. You must have achieved a minimum result HGD or SGC for pure mathematics and English and matric. You must be medically fit. Oh, let's touch on that. Let us touch on that. Okay, medically fit. What do you guys think it means by medically fit? You can. In fact, I'm gonna ask that question now. I'm gonna give you guys 5 minutes, and you can put in the comments below. What do you think it means by medically fit? And then we'll come back to it. Okay, what does it mean by medically fit? That's going to be the question for the next 5 minutes. What does it mean to be medically fit? Okay, next it says, interesting. Students with disabilities are encouraged to apply and will be given preference in line with the employment equity plan. Okay, good, fair enough. That's fine. I mean, um, you know, unfortunately, being a pilot, you do require certain motor skills, meaning your body needs to be able to move in a certain way. So, yeah, that's the reality of it. Then it says students from designated groups as per the Employment Equity Act of 1998 are encouraged to apply. I imagine they mean by black. um, then Indian, and then within that category, on top would be if you're black and female, or an Indian and female. Oh, sorry, black, Indian, and colored. Yes, okay. Okay, then let's see what else they. Oh, so each role has their own requirements, as we can see. Let's look at the second one, and the second one seems to have no, the third one. Sorry, the third one seems to have the highest amount of requirements. So it says, okay, the South African citizen, fine, 18 years, matric, good communication skills. What does that mean? What does good communication skills mean? Okay. Essentially, are you able to, when they say communication skills, they're actually talking about soft skills here. I'm sure, I am sure, Kenneth, you can tell us about soft skills in your industry. Okay, soft skills. What do we mean by soft skills? Essentially, read the room. Okay, read the room. Be professional, and that means always try to be always try to be kind to people. Always try to communicate clearly what you're trying to say, right? And when being professional, that includes skills like written communication skills, speaking communication skills. So that's on the phone. That's by email. Not many people write letters at this point in time. But let's say for example, you go to a meeting. Be welcoming. Yes, thank you very much. Yes, be welcoming. You definitely need to be welcoming. Number one. And so you're welcoming. So be welcoming. Have the ability to, and you know what? I'm going to write these down as well. So soft skills, you need to have email writing skills. You know, note taking. Note taking is so important. Note taking is definitely an important aspect. Phone skills. And what do we mean by phone skills? I mean, let's say, for example, whoever you work for, be able to read and write and at least speak fluent English. I mean, that is definitely in the aviation world. Oh, that's actually so important. Thank you, Kenneth, for bringing that up. Some of you might think, well, okay, yes, that's obvious, but guys, it is very important. Language and understanding what an individual is saying is very important. By that I mean the perception. Do you have the same perception as the individual that is communicating? In aviation, just like the medical, I don't know if we can say just like, but I suppose there are a lot of similarities in aviation. Similarly to the medical industry, this is a life and death situation, correct? Particularly if you're an air traffic controller, right? What you say can determine the survival of an aircraft in the air. as an air traffic controller. What you say as a pilot, what you communicate, when you communicate your position, what you communicate your intentions, can be very vital to the life of the people on board, including your life. If you miscommunicate your position, if you miscommunicate your intentions, you could very much so cause a fatal situation. By that I mean you could create a collision course with another aircraft. You can create a situation where air traffic control is not prioritizing you, and you have limited fuel in the air. You know, you can't just stop for fuel in the air. There's no fuel stations in the air, unless you're a fighter jet, and fighter jets have fuel stations in the air, so to speak. But we're not fighter pilots here. So there are no fuel stations in the air. If you miscommunicate that you are in an emergency situation where you have limited amount of fuel, you need to land, and that's happened in the past. It's happened in the past that there was one, I think it was in the US, and there was a flight from Latin America, from South America. And so I think only one person on board the aircraft was able to speak English. Yes, there was only one person on board the aircraft who was able to speak English. Everyone else could only speak Spanish, Espanol, right? So they were coming in to approach. I don't know what city it was. I don't know if it was New York or Boston, or I don't know. It was winter. It was cold. The visibility was bad, and then the air traffic controller told them, please hold. Basically, enter a holding pattern. A holding pattern looks like a, let's see if I can draw it like that, okay? A holding pattern somewhat looks like that, okay? So it's like a racetrack. It's a racetrack pattern. And you're basically told to hold and to wait for other traffic to land. And so the one pilot that spoke English, I think he said, okay, we have limited fuel, so just take that into consideration. However, he did not communicate the urgency of how limited the fuel was. So, as they were holding, this pilot kept on saying, hey, we're limited fuel. And then the other pilots in the plane who were flying, they were saying to the pilot who spoke English, what's going on? Why isn't air traffic control allowing us to land? We don't have enough fuel. What's happening? Don't they understand? So they kept on going, and then eventually air traffic control was like, okay, Lima, whatever the call sign was, let's call them Lima 123. Lima 123, you're cleared to descend, and you're cleared for the ILS approach runway, whatever, runway 29, let's call it that. And they started to descend, and then they entered the approach path for the runway. And so once they entered the approach path, one of the engines started to shut down. Why? It was shutting down because it was running out of fuel. So they had 4 engines in total. So one engine shut down, 2 gone. Okay, they're still flying and say, okay, maybe we have enough to make it to the runway. So they continue the approach. 2 second engine goes off. 2 third. 2 fourth. Gone. So what happens? They fell short of the runway. They crashed. Pilots died. Some people died. Some people survived. All because of a miscommunication. And in fact, air traffic control at the time did not even recognize that they had crashed. They thought, oh, maybe they went around. We'll get back to them. So it was only a few hours later that they realized, oh, they actually crashed. Okay? Gosh, a cold, guys. This is so bad. Okay, so communication. English is very important. Let's look at the next requirement. I have to now open up the website myself. All right, here we go. So communication skills, English speaking skills is very important. Next one, it says you must have good spatial reasoning ability. Let's talk about that. Okay. Good spatial reasoning ability. What does that mean to have what does spatial mean? Firstly, let me talk about spatial awareness. Let me talk about spatial awareness. And guys, if there's anything that you want to ask, I must ask. If there's anything that doesn't make sense, you must say. But let's have a look at what they are saying about spatial reasoning ability. Okay, so this is the perception I take it. In aviation, you have you're in a 3D environment. You're not in a 2D environment. And what do I mean by that? I mean, if you're driving a car, right? You're driving a car, and you're only controlling 2 dimensions, and by that I mean you're turning to the right, or you're turning to the left, you're going forward, or you're going backwards. Okay, so you're essentially controlling 2 dimensions, so to speak. In the air, you can go up or down. You can go to the right. You can go to the left. Not only by rolling to the right or rolling to the left, but you can, what we call like a ship. You know how like a ship, they would use their rudder on a ship. So the ship would yaw to the left and yaw to the right, right? You can do that in a plane as well. You can yaw to the left and you can yaw to the right. Willie says, sorry, I can't stay. I'm at work. I'll watch later. Keep up the good work. Okay, Willie. Thank you very much for joining in. My word, you're at work. Thank you. Well, I'm saying thank you, but good job on you. It's late for you. Well, I don't know. Actually, I don't even know where you're. If you are, which part of the world? But thank you for that. Thank you for joining in, Willie, and we'll catch you in the next one. We'll catch you in the next 2 weeks, and hopefully I will not have a cold at that time. Huh? We'll catch you in the next 2 weeks. Okay, so you have a rudder, right? That's 1 dimension. You have hey Tito, good evening. Hey, there we go. So you have a rudder, right, which is 1 dimension, and then you have or 1 axis as we call it. We have something that allows the nose of the plane going up and down, right? We call that pitch, okay. And then we have something that makes the wings go right and left. We call that roll, okay. So you're controlling 3 dimensions, right? And you have planes not only ahead of you, you have planes below you, above you, to the left, to the right, all sorts of directions. You've got mountains on the ground. You've got all sorts of things around you. It's a 3-dimensional environment. So if you're entering a high density area, high traffic density area, right? You have to take into consideration of the positions of planes. You have to take into consideration the health of your aircraft. You have to take into consideration the health of you and your fellow crew members, and if you have any passengers on board. And so when we say spatial, let's bring it up, spatial reasoning ability, okay, we are saying of all the conflicting information that's coming in at the same time, how do we prioritize this conflicting information in order to for us to have the safest outcome, right? How do we do that? Okay, so that's what we mean by spatial reasoning ability. Look at all the conflicting factors that are happening at the same time. Prioritize them to whichever one needs to be solved first, meaning which one needs to be resolved so that you are still safe. Okay, hi there. Great job you're doing here. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Okay, so which one do you need to do first to keep you safe and to keep everyone else safe on board, and to keep the plane safe? And not only the people on board on the plane, but also the people the aircraft around you, the people on the ground. Think about it. Actually, let me give another scenario, and this is a real life scenario. I believe this was yesterday. Yes, yesterday. So there's an airport, and some of you may already know, but there is an airport here, where a plane took off. As it took off, the engine failed. Completely died. Completely died. Gone. Okay. Now you have to, what you do, you have to glide, right? You can still fly without an engine. It's just that you're not going to be able to maintain height, right? You're going to be going down. So engine failed completely, and now you need to decide, where am I going to land this aircraft? I can't land it back on the runway. I can only land ahead. Okay. Now, on the right hand side, there's a couple of houses. That's not good. I don't want to, if anyone's dying, let me not kill anyone else. Okay. So I don't want to land on houses, and that's going to reduce my likelihood of survival. Okay. On my left hand side, I see a field, or I see grassland, or I see a highway. I say, okay, let me aim for the grassland. If by making it to the grassland, at least there's nobody else around. There's no other houses. I'm not damaging people's property. I'm not hurting people's lives. So you got to think about the other people as well. Now, luckily, these guys, when they landed, it was a grassland area. They managed to land safely, and there was only one dent on the plane. So they were very lucky. They were extremely lucky, and we thank goodness that they're alive, and the plane is actually pretty much okay. So, that is what we mean by spatial reasoning ability, and also actually good analytical skills, because they come together. You're basically analyzing the situation to have the best outcome. Okay, you must work well within a team. I think that's clear cut. Yeah, you must have strong multitasking skills. In aviation, or being a pilot, actually, multitasking skills are related to an acronym that we call no, not that one. Aviate, navigate, communicate. Okay, aviate, navigate, communicate. That's very important. Aviate, navigate, communicate. And Tiro, you can definitely talk to us about aviate, navigate, and communicate. Okay, but basically, we are saying here, prioritize your flying first. It's no good to talk to air traffic control or to talk to people. It's like you driving a car, and you prioritizing. Let's say driving a car is the aviate one, right? And then you on your phone, which is communicating, and you're talking to people, right? There's no point in prioritizing communicating on the phone if you're now going to take your car and hit a wall or hit another car, and you're going to crash, and you'll hurt yourself really badly. Okay, you first focus on driving the car, and then you focus on navigating the car. This car has to maintain this lane. Oh, this car is going on this highway, then it's going to turn left on another road. Okay, so you focus on driving the car first, then you focus on taking the direction of where the car is going. Then you're able to communicate to other people, whether it's on the phone or whether it's the people in the car. Okay, you know how when you're driving and you're a bit lost, and you're like, oh, let me turn down the radio, let me turn down the music, because I need to hear, or I need to see better by turning down the music. And the reality of that is because you're having a sensory overload in your ears. Your ears are receiving too much sound information, and so your brain is focusing more on the sound than it is on what the eyes are seeing, which is of course why now you're turning down the music, or you're turning down the radio to be able to see better. Oh, I need to turn it down to see better, right? Okay, so aviate the plane first, and then and remember, guys, we're talking about multitasking here. You aviate the plane first, then you will deal with where the plane is going, and then it doesn't matter if air traffic control is on the radio, they're trying to reach you. Forget them. You're focusing on flying. You're focusing on navigating the plane. So going back to the example of the guys that lost an engine, right, after takeoff, the first thing that you do, you aviate. You fly at a certain glide speed. You pick a field 30 degrees left or right ahead of you. You never return back to the field. Never, right? And then if you have sufficient altitude, you will fault find. You will identify the situation. You look through the symptoms of the aircraft and see if you're able to restart the engine. If you're unable to do that, you then shut down the engine, right? And then thereafter, once you be able to make the field, then you apply flaps. We'll discuss what flaps are at a later point. But they basically slow down the airplane. Okay, they slow down the airplane. And then lastly, final checks, final approach onto the grassland. Secure the aircraft. Okay, so you're aviating first, you're navigating, and then lastly, if you have time, you can say, "Hey, air traffic control, I'm gonna be landing in the field here. Send out the emergency services." All right. Okay. Excellent. Good. We've got 9 minutes left. We have 9 minutes left. Tito says turning back to the runway is never an option. That's what we call the impossible turn. Exactly. It is the impossible turn. Sorry, Tito, there's a bit of a delay here. Hey, Tito, I don't know if you heard about that crash yesterday. Hey, guys, there were 3 crashes yesterday. My word. There were 3 air crashes yesterday. So you have to see my face for that. There were 3 air crashes yesterday. 2 of them, the crew members survived. 3rd one, fatality, gone, unfortunately. Guys, you must stay safe. The pilots in this room, the pilots in this chat, must stay safe out there. Stay focused. Remember your procedures. Remember what you've learned. Do not do, as Tito says, do not turn back to the runway. Doesn't matter how many hours of flying time that you have, 1,000 hours, 2,000, whatever it may be, 500. I'm telling you this, the person with 2,000 hours is more likely to turn back to the runway than the person with 200 hours. I promise you. I promise you. Oh, you haven't been on social media, so you don't know. Okay. Hey, maybe I'll send you that information. I'll try and find it. Okay. So the point is, guys, stay focused, stay sharp. Remember what you've been taught. Remember the procedures, and stay calm as well, and just do them, and then you hope for the best. Okay, now we've got 8 minutes left. Let's run through the rest of the requirements quickly. So, right, you must have quick decision-making skills. I think that's just part of the rest. You must have strong emotional intelligence. Control your emotions, guys. Don't get control your emotions. You must be confident and have high self-esteem. Okay. Confidence is very important. Okay, well, we'll come back to it later. Students, and then the last bit, students with disabilities, etc., etc., etc. All right. So the point is this. The point is this. If you have not gotten any form of office skills or working environment skills yet, try and do internship. I'm talking to people who are 18 or younger, or just 18. If you have not gotten any form of like office environment skills, it will help you in the aviation environment. It will help you in the application for scholarships. And then talking to the people who have already finished their training, people who are already flying, and people who are trying to build their pilot career. Gosh, guys, I hate having a cold. Oh gosh, it's horrible. That's just really bad. Okay, so for those guys, and this is the thing I wanted to reiterate every time we go live, guys, because it must be said and must be said each and every single time. And obviously, it does require some amount of money, but do you remember? I had said that in some situations you will find people who finish off the commercial pilot license, they will you will suddenly see them flying, let's call it a caravan, a 12-seater aircraft, 14-seater aircraft, or you'll see them flying multi-engine aircraft, all sorts of things. And then you'll question it's a plane called like a B1900. And I think next time, I think I have to like put up pictures of what these are here. For those of you who don't know what a B1900 is, or B1900 is, it's in the name. It's a 19-seater multi-engine plane. It's got 2 engines. Okay, so there's some people who are straight out of flight school and they go fly these planes, and you wonder, how did they do that? Like, and I can promise you, it's actually, it's not a very common thing, but the way it occurs, is all about insurance, guys. Insurance controls aviation. Insurance controls aviation. For example, if you fly at night and you don't have your your night rating is not valid, it's not recent or whatever it may be, that will nullify the insurance. And then basically operators with airplanes, and if you rent out an airplane, will say, hey, you can't fly because, well, obviously you can't fly because you don't have a night rating, but but it's an example. I think, let me give another example. Let us say you have your night rating, you're legal to fly at night, you're flying at night, and you're coming into land, and then suddenly, hey, load shedding. Welcome. Load shedding happens, and then the runway lights go off. Poof, gone. You can't see where the runway is. You can't land. But then poof, the generator kicks in. The runway lights come back on. Now there might be a technicality in the insurance policy that states that if air traffic control tells you go around, meaning or deviate to an alternate airfield, legally, insurance might say, you didn't listen to air traffic control, therefore, if anything did happen to the plane, we will not pay. So insurance controls so many things, and the point I'm trying to get to is this: if you want to fly a turbine aircraft, which is like a turboprop or a jet engine airplane, and you apply to any operator that has these planes, right? And then the employer will say to you, oh, you can't, sorry, you don't have the experience. That's not what they mean. They don't mean that you don't have the experience. What they're saying is that the insurance company is not going to pay for you to be to cover you for you flying this plane, because you don't have the minimum turbine hours requirement to fly it, which in most cases is 50 hours for a B1900 or C208 Caravan, right? So what you would say to employer, and like I said this last time, what you can say to the employer is this: the insurance company doesn't care if you're able to pay for that premium. Everything has a price. Money controls everything, right? So if you pay the premium, I see we have 2 minutes left. If we pay the premium, then the employer will technically say, hey, okay, you can fly. And that premium, depending on the plane, but we're looking in the hundreds of thousands here. We're looking at 100,000, 250,000. But you can structure it in such a way where you're saying, okay, my some of the payment of the premium will come out of my salary, some of the payment will come out from me, and it will pay it out in a couple of months, right? And you have to do a minimum of 50 hours. Okay, fine. So let's say 3 months, you probably do 50 hours in 3 months' time. And then that's paid out, and then you no longer have to pay that premium. And then Bob's your uncle. You've got a full-time job flying turbine aircraft, turboprop, or jet aircraft. Okay, so that's what tends to happen, and it's kind of like a secret information in the industry. I don't know why it's so secretive. I really don't understand. Okay. Now, I said I would talk about the medical requirements. This is going to be the last thing, and then we call it. So medical requirements. Okay, or medically fit. Right. I think one of the main points I have to touch there, and the rest we will talk about later. But one of the main points I have to touch is you don't need to have 20/20 vision. You do not need to have 20/20 vision. You don't. You you need. I don't have 20/20 vision. You can see I'm wearing glasses. No, so the legal requirement is you must have two pairs of prescription glasses. One as a redundancy, and just in case this one breaks, on board. So you don't need to have 20/20 vision. You just need the glasses. Just need to make sure that you're able to get 20/20 vision. Okay. Physically fit. If you'll do what is called, Tino knows this, you do what is called a class 1 medical. In a class 1 medical, they're going to test your lungs, so your breathing capabilities, so to speak. Then they will test. Well, they'll test your urine if you have any drugs in the urine or any form of what's the word I'm looking for, deformalities or something like that. They will also test it's called your EKG and ECG. Google it. And then what else? Oh, your hearing. They test your hearing. They test your eyesight. And then they're going to test for your psychology, meaning your mental state of mind, and how easy it is for you to break down, or how easy it is for you to get angry, right? So that, you know what, I think I should actually next time bring out the form. There is a form that you have to fill in, and you'll see the type of questions that they ask you. Guys, remind me for next time, please, to show that. Okay, we are at 8 o'clock. That is it. Thank you very much for joining. Guys. Next time I'm gonna announce again. I don't know when, or maybe in a week's time, I don't know. But I'll announce again the live event, which it's gonna happen every 2 weeks. And when I put out a post, I put out a community post, and on that community post, you can put in the questions that you want to ask. You can the type of topics that you want me to talk about. I've also, as you can see, I've put just down here my Instagram. This is actually a new handle. This is going to be the handle for LS Aviation. I do have another handle which you can actually find also on my YouTube channel, which is my name essentially. But I want to now use this handle just specific to the content of this channel. So I have seen that some of you already started subscribing, so thanks for that, or following on Instagram. So thanks for that. Hey guys, for some of you who are not subscribed on this channel, please do subscribe. Do subscribe. It helps out. It does help out, and I really want to get more. I want to expose aviation to more and more people. I think it's needed. I think there's a lot of myth and misunderstanding in about the industry. So guys, subscribe so that other people can see the channel, like the videos that I've been putting up and stuff, so that other people can see the channel and actually demystify the industry. All right, guys. Cheers. Thank you for joining in. I hope this live was a bit better than the last one. I know the last one I was just still trying to figure out things, but I think we have improved in terms of the layout and stuff. So hopefully next time we can also improve once more in terms of what type of content that we actually put on the live stream itself. So thanks guys for joining in, and I will catch you